USC welcomes the Spartans to the Coliseum in a historic matchup, seeing that the Spartans here in LA, plus mounting concerns over the depth and injuries happening in the cornerback room. Those thoughts and your calls coming up next. Welcome everybody to another episode of the Conquest Call-In Show, the show where you guys and your calls decide what we're going to talk about. We're going to set the stage a little bit here, Jamal and I, talking about the matchup with Jonathan Smith and his Michigan State Spartans coming to the Coliseum. Also, a little bit of bad news. We heard that Chasen Johnson, yet another corner, is hurt, and that's what the questions we might have going on in the secondary. But Jamal, how are you doing, and what are your thoughts on the mounting concerns in that cornerback room?
Well, first of all, Tim, great to see you as always. Wednesday evening, gotta love it. You know, it's a little bit of a different flavor when it's just you and me. No Ryan. Feels a little bit like, parents have left the kids home alone, and you and I can run amok a bit, so excited about that and great to see you as always. To sort of answer your question, Tim, obviously this is now the second domino to sort of fall in the secondary. Obviously, Prophet Brown and everything he brought, from a nickel capacity, and now Chasen Johnson, who we all had such high expectations for this year, playing on the outside, and everything that he demonstrated in spring and fall camp. And so now, as you start getting into Big Ten play with some of these bigger, more physical receivers and teams that now have multiple options on the outside, as opposed to just say one option or one go-to. Now this starts exacerbating the depth and sort of that top end talent. And obviously we've seen moments where the secondary has had some breakdowns early this season. So excited to sort of get into it with you on what the Trojans need to do moving forward.
Yeah, so you mean Prophet Brown going down early on? We saw a lot of Prophet last year. He could play nickel, obviously corner. He could play corner as well. He brought that veteran presence there to the position, along with DeCarlos Nicholson, who's, again, I think he's holding down their side. So I'm curious to you guys out there, who do you guys think is going to fill in on the other cornerback spot? I mean, we've seen a lot though. We've seen Celis Williams over there. We've seen Conoly over there getting some time. DJ Harvey, the transfer, in there as well. But young guy like Tristan Castro, not sure if he's ready to step in for the role, but it just seemed like a position where you could swap around and had a little bit of leeway. It just got really thin, really quick. Because Alex Graham was somebody that really in camp, we thought maybe, hey, look, this might be our nickel. And I know a Prophet was there too, but that would give you the option if Alex Graham was locking that down, you could probably bump Prophet to that corner and have two veteran corners. Just interested to see, because last week it just seemed like that was, a lot of answers we had in the secondary at the safety position. It just seems like every single play was in the secondary. It just seems a bit soft, and they were bending and don't break, going all the way down, to the goal line. I mean, if not for a couple interceptions, the goal line from Bishop Fitzgerald, the complexion of this game might have been a little bit different.
No, totally.
Maybe a little more than we thought we'd see, from the Purdue offense. So again, I'm going to ask you guys out there, how comfortable you guys are you guys with our cornerback room? There's a lot of talent there, but again, like going into the season, Jamal, we said there's a lot of talent here, but it's young and it's unproven. And are these young guys ready to step in and make their presence felt?
No question about it, Tim. And, you alluded to it, that Purdue game in particular, it was a lot of soft coverage and we kept getting beat on the inside. It was sort of that inside leverage consistently on that RPO from Brown. And so, I personally, I don't know where you're leaning, you got to I think that the potential of a Williams, Marcellus Williams, in terms of, how he will play there. But there's also sort of an inexperience, and you got to sort of deal with the growing pains, with the good, with the bad, and all of it. But to be honest with you, for stability, I actually kind of like DJ Harvey in that spot, because he's a veteran presence. And I think particularly if you're going to play Ramsey at more nickel, you're going to need a little bit more of a veteran presence on the outside, even from a kind of cognitive perspective and sort of thinking through what the secondary looks like. So I think Harvey's experience will pay huge dividends here going into his senior year. But again, it's sort of a revolving door, and it's something that we need to tighten up, because as Michigan State comes to town, and I know we'll get into it, Tim, but they got two big physical receivers, in Nick Marsh and Omari Kelly. And Omari Kelly comes in at 6 feet, 188. Nick Marsh is 6'3", 205. These are some big body, your traditional over the middle Big Ten possession receivers. And so if inside leverage was a concern last week, it's going to be an even bigger concern this week, because you're dealing with some bigger targets here. So you're going to need some guys with game experience, guys who aren't afraid to play at the line of scrimmage, play a little bit more bump and run. And so that's why I like Harvey to start opposite Nicholson, but we'll see how it shakes out.
Yeah, there's some question to see if Nick Marsh is going to play in this game. He's a little dinged up. So that question mark on that, I'm not sure this could be a game time decision or not, but I agree with you. They will be tested. And Aidan Chiles, he had a rough inauguration into the Big Ten last year, was very wild, but he has toned that down a little bit. Let's see Chiles. I think he's throwing about 71% now, 71.6% of his passes on the year. He's 656 yards on the ground, 6 thrown touchdowns, only 1 interception. He does have the 8 sacks. That offensive line has done a pretty good job. And I think it was Tom Fornelli on Cover 3 was talking about how he just seems to hang on to the ball a little too long. So look for that. Look for the guys on the outside to get hungry and maybe pick up some sacks. But he has 123 yards on the ground already this season. He can hurt you definitely with his feet, and he's added 1 touchdown on the ground. So what do you think the game plan D'Anton Lynn has to set up in order to keep Aidan Chiles at bay?
Yeah, it's a really good question, Tim. And, this is going to be another chapter in sort of the season for the Trojans, particularly on the defensive side, because I think this is the first week that we are now playing a more mobile quarterback. And, it's one thing to be able to sort of pin your ears back on the edge when someone is a little bit more stationary, but Chiles is someone that can get outside and make some noise with his feet. Second leading rusher on this Spartans team. But to your point, Tim, it's feast or famine with him. He holds on to the ball a little bit too long. And so there's the potential to have some huge sacks. I mean, loss of 12, loss of 15, because he may hang on to the ball too long. But then there's also the potential to kind of get beat on the edge. So I think the key for me is going to be, you really want to be able to maintain kind of gap integrity and not overcommit on that edge, and so where he can kind of step in and start running, and the clock in his head, just is sort of one where he can just sort of take off and move. So to me, it's about kind of setting that edge, having that discipline, keeping him in the pocket, but really kind of collapsing that pocket where he's starting to really feel the pressure sort of incrementally. And then, he's forced to really be precise, as opposed to sort of, overly committing, losing gap contain, and then he can sort of roll out to his right and then just kind of take off and run. So I think that's going to be a huge element here. And I think given that Michigan State gave up 8 sacks in these first 3 games, Tim, I got to be honest with you, that's a pretty high number considering the competition, right? I mean, I think you would agree there between Western Michigan, Youngstown State, and Boston College. Oh, by the way, Boston College just lost to Stanford last week, and Stanford might win 2 games this year, so this was a very soft schedule for them to be giving up roughly 3 sacks a game against that schedule. Now, when you get the likes of our boys like Fountain and Shelby and Lucas sort of unleashing on that edge, I think there's a real opportunity to create havoc. But those guys, if they get overly zealous and you lose that gap contain, you can sort of get gashed on the back end. So I think as long as we can bring the pressure with 4 and maintain that gap integrity, I think that's what I'm really looking for from a D'Anton Lynn system. I don't think he's going to need to blitz very much in this game.
And that is the key. If you're having trouble with the coverage on the back end, not having to blitz, be able to get some pressure with 4, which when we look at the way the entire line itself, including the emergence. I'd love to hear your thoughts on the younger guys, Jakeem Stewart's play and Floyd Boucard. Floyd Boucard just seems like whenever he gets in there, he's showing out. You're seeing big 88 getting to the quarterback. He got his first sack, but There were a number of hurries in that game as well. And then you see Jakeem Stewart. I like what Gabe said. He said that he could tell he has, has been off football for a while, but he's just his undeniable talent and how well he's playing. Just love to hear your thoughts on both the young guys, Floyd Boucard and sorry, I'm trying to multitask. Floyd Boucard and Stewart on the inside.
Yeah, Tim. I mean, both of those guys. My God, I think Gabe said it really well there. You can tell that Jakeem is been a little rusty, with the injury knickknacks and whatnot. But his ability to just sort of explode off the ball at the snap is sort of undeniable. He's kind of like a great 100-meter sprinter. Like at the gun. Those great sprinters are like 7 meters into the race already. And you're like, how do they get that step? He's just got that instinct on the snap. He's so quick with it, which is really, really special. And when you have a first step as explosive as he does, then you sort of add the variety, and you can, with your hand techniques and your spins and your swim moves and, sort of coming around and, he's just going to be a handful for, years to come here for USC. And we're all very excited about it. I think he's going to make bigger and bigger impact as the season goes on. And particularly, I think in some of these marquee games down the road, at Oregon, at Notre Dame, I think Stewart's going to make some noise. And then Boucard, I mean, you said it, Tim, he's a disruptor, and I think we're looking for more disruption, particularly along the lines of that interior. And Boucard is someone that can really mess up your entire scheme, on a single play, and this guy's a double team waiting to happen. And I think he's still a little bit raw naturally, but once he sort of understands a little bit more about the nuances of how guys are blocking him, how you gotta, deal with, quote unquote blocking in the Big Ten, and understand a little bit more, kind of hand technique, this guy's going to be another monster. And just as sort of a side note, Tim, is it just me, or are you really enjoying the numbers of these guys on, the defensive line? I mean, the fact that we got 0s and 4s and 1s and 88s. I mean, it's such a fresh and fun look to see on the defensive line. I've sort of thoroughly enjoyed that as just a side point.
The low numbers are what I love. I mean, initially you just saw like, the 0, the 1, the 2, right? 3, 4, well, not 3, but 4. You're not going to see 3 on there. 4, no 5. But yeah, all the young guys getting in there, and the veterans with the low numbers. And then you have Boucard come out with that big 88,
Yeah.
You see you expect that to be on a receiver or a tight end, but it's on him. So
I tell you, Tim, watching, Jamal, my namesake, I was so proud watching him, sort of have that pick 6. But, watching Jarrett, that how he's so big, but then to have sort of 0 there, it almost felt like a scene out of the Waterboy, the original Waterboy, it just, that was something, you just don't see that combination of size and sort of, distance and number very often. That was just so fun to see.
It's so single digits on those big dudes, that number just disappears, and it looks just
like this small,
that much bigger, right? Yeah. No, I did dig that. I did love seeing those jersey numbers. I remember when they were coming out with the jersey numbers, seeing all those low numbers. Like as soon as we saw Fountain with the 1, then you started seeing them roll in, and then you saw that Jakeem Stewart was gonna be 4. I mean, yeah, it was kind of cool, the pattern they took.
I love that. Captain Insane no shows no mercy. Great reference. Great reference.
All right, we got our first call. You ready for him?
Let's do it.
All right, hi, caller. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
What's up, guys? It's Christian from Mission Viejo.
Christian, how you doing?
Living the dream. How you doing?
Doing good. I'm just preparing myself. I know this call is coming every week, and I got to be ready. Jamal, you ready? He's going to bring it. I'm telling you.
I'm ready, man. I'm ready. I'm sweating, but I'm ready,
All right, let's go. Let's do it.
All right. This time I wrote down a couple statements, and I just wanted to read them to you and see if you think yes or no, and then kind of get a why.
Okay.
My first one, Lake McCree will finish in the top 3 for receiving touchdowns, catches, and yards at the end of the season.
I'm gonna have to go with no, because I'm actually really believing. It's good. It's gonna be tough. It might be tough. I mean, that's a close one. Let me see. Hold on. Let me see if I'm forgetting anything here. But no, I mean, I'm going no, Jamal. What are you thinking on that one?
Yeah, I mean that's a really good question. I would go.
It's early.
I would. It's really close. I mean, obviously, you got the big two, and they're going to sort of separate statistically as we move forward.
Hines is going to get his.
I'm going to go yes on receptions and touchdowns, and I'm going to go no on yards.
I would have said receptions, yes, but yards and touchdowns, I'm going no. I think the Nook Hines, we've seen him a high point now, right? We've seen him catch that inside screen. We're going to start seeing. I think they're saving that double move, and he's going to be blowing past guys in the secondary in the Big Ten. I'm telling you. So he's gonna get his fair share of touchdowns. And we saw him go with one hand there, Jamal.
No, I mean that lefty, man, was something. I mean, that was something. Just my point of view, Tim, I totally agree with you, and that's why yards, I think Tanoh Hines is gonna be third eventually. I just think that Lake McCree's effectiveness in the seam, particularly in some of these tougher games, is gonna be kind of a go-to for Jaden. And we've talked so much about, the evolution of his poise, the evolution of his comfort level over the course of the season. But there's going to be ebbs and flows. There's going to be ups and downs, and there's going to be moments where he's going to get jittery. He's going to feel a little bit uncomfortable. It's natural. It's the nature of the season. And I think going to a Lake McCree in the seam is going to be the thing, one of the key elements to sort of calm him down. And so I think that's going to be sort of a staple of this offense when you need it. And then the other element of this is, I like Lincoln's packages with getting the tight ends involved, particularly on some of these 4th and short situations. So I think both of those is going to, and obviously Walker Lyons will get his as well. But I think those two elements, I really like Lake McCree from a reception standpoint. And then once you get in that red zone, and that ability to have a great tight end, particularly as you start playing better and better Big Ten competition. That's my rationale. I like Lake McCree receptions, touchdowns, but no on the yards.
And the touchdowns, right? You can leak them out. Near goal line, but also that intermediate. I mean, Jaden throws a beautiful. I mean, so it's a fairly easy read, right? You just got to split the safety, right? And on that seam pass, and he's got the arm. I mean, he's got the arm to get in there. So that's going to be a potent weapon. I like that. And if you remember Miller, he was Miller's outlet when he had, especially if he had trouble, he was like his safety blanket. So yeah, I could see that being the situation as well. But I love Lake McCree. My brother's a tight end. I love tight ends. I'm just telling you, I just see something in Tanoh Hines that I don't know. I don't know if it evolves this year, this early, but by the end of the year, he will absolutely be your unquestioned wide receiver 3 without a doubt. Alan,
I like it.
Alan Pancake's my fan here. Christian, anything else for us?
Yeah. Let's see. We will not have a 100 tackle player on this team. Well, this season.
Have you seen the numbers that Eric Gentry's putting up? Because
yeah.
He might.
I think he's still projected short of 100 through 12 games.
He's just warming up, Christian. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
I mean, we're going to see more run plays. I think as we go, I think we saw more passing in the first couple of games. I think on average we're going to see throughout the year, because I think the games are going to be closer. I think that the Big Ten teams, especially let's put it this way, right? We're playing Iowa. They're not going to be throwing the ball. So right there, he might get 60 tackles in that game. I'm kidding, but if not Eric Gentry, I mean, I don't really see the linebackers. I mean, I haven't seen outside of Eric getting a lot of tackles. So Stevens is not really totaling. I mean, he's put himself behind the 8 ball for that 100 season. I'd have to kind of agree with you. Kamari starting up here at the nickel, kind of out of his that box safety role that he's been playing before, that kind of throws him off a little bit. So I tend to agree with you on that. So I'd say yes.
Yeah, Christian, from my perspective, it's sort of you ask the question, but there's sort of a secret question in there. And for me, the secret question is, do you believe Eric Gentry is going to stay healthy for the whole year?
Yes,
that's how I received the question. And, I think, Tim and I both certainly do, and we're hoping, knock on wood. And I think if that is in fact the case, Tim, I think you brought up a really good point. When Iowa at home, Northwestern at home, even Nebraska, I know they've been kind of chucking it all over at the start of this season, but as the competition stiffens, there's going to be plenty of opportunity there for Gentry. And, let's not forget, there's a postseason element here to be able to add games as well. You're potentially looking at a 13th game, 14th game even. So, if you're saying it's 13 or 14 games, you got to be right at, about 7 to 8 tackles a game to be able to get there. And I think the way Gentry's playing and the way he's positioning this year, we're going to be positive and we're going to go over.
Yeah, I wasn't implying that there would be an injury there. I was just thinking, honestly, that Gentry would have been like way above like the projection to have more than 100 tackles at this point. But when I was doing the math, I'm like, 21 through 3 games seems weird. I don't know. I was just thinking maybe the quality of player we have in the defense is just improved. So it's kind of like the wealth is being spread when it comes to tackles.
But also remember,
I was thinking,
Christian, that it's not the Big 12 or the Pac-12. You know what I mean? The amount of possessions that the teams are getting, the game is slowed down, the new clock rules and all that. There's a lot more that goes into it, now.
Yeah.
And at USC, if their defense is as good as we think it's going to be, it's going to get them off the field, more 3 and outs. So that's going to cut into those kind of things. So it's really is how you see the defense as well as the offense. If the offense is blowing, is like scoring lots of points and their team has to play catch up, then that changes the whole dynamic as well. They're gonna be throwing the ball a lot more. So yeah, I'm gonna go with just all that together. I'm gonna say it's gonna be really difficult for anyone on the team to get 100 tackles.
But the one thing I'll add there, Christian, is so he's at 21 tackles through 3 games. That's 7 a game, right? So if you project 7 tackles a game over 13 games, that's 91 tackles. So he's just short of 100, to your point. But let's also not forget the first 2 games he played a half, right? So when you start talking about usage and utilization with some run heavy teams, he's going to go all the way the rest of the year now. So I think there's going to be an opportunity there. He's going to have to stay healthy. There's no question about that. But if he can stay healthy, I think there's a real chance there. But I think he's the only one that has sort of a credible opportunity to get to 100 tackles this year.
And he had one of his best games against Michigan, which was a heavy run team last year. So, I mean, and let's say it. People say he has a durability issue, but if we remember, what sidelined him last year was just a absolute fluke injury when he went over the top and rolled wrong on his neck and got that concussion. It wasn't like he got beat up, physically couldn't go. It was more just of a crazy fluke play. I mean, obviously most injuries are flukes, but that's the one, just the way that wasn't even it was like almost like a, you see those non-contact knee injuries. This was like a non-contact concussion, really. So,
that's a t-shirt, Tim. Non-contact concussion.
Yeah. It's gonna be a lot of strange looks, I'm sure. Christian, what do you think about the cornerback room? You're a knowledgeable fan. Who do you think's gonna start? I mean, we'd probably be D-Nick on one side, right? What's gonna be on the other side, do you think? Who's gonna be on their side?
Yeah, that was a question that I kind of was thinking about asking you. I don't know. I've been just seeing the rotation. I'm thinking a lot of people are confident in Braylon Conoly. I don't know. It seems like a lot of the standout plays that are just like give ups have been with number 2 being in the vicinity. So I don't know. I'm thinking between Braylon Conoly and maybe Sellis. I mean, I like Sellis, I like Bosco. So got to root for him, but not too sure.
He's had his ups and downs in coverage. I mean, he's not a liability in coverage. I think he's just had a couple bad, like one time he opened his hips up too early. The guy just lost the inside leverage. That was an easy one to see. Another play, he just got completely picked out of the play, but was really on him. But I don't think really, and Conoly, who I've been high on, all of them have had their moments, and all of them, I mean, I haven't seen one of them has been consistent. And in football, whether it's on the offensive line or if it's in the secondary, these coaches are looking for consistency over the flashy plays. They don't want, and that's what probably is going to, DJ Harvey. I don't think he's been in 2 of those busted coverages. I think he was just on one of those busted coverages, but that's one way it's going to get you. You're going to find ill favor with your coaches, because there's one thing about getting a physical beat, is another thing on a mental beat where you just don't get that rep. Now, remember, the other corners in the room have multiple years in the scheme, and he came over in the springtime. So I'm willing to give him a little bit of that, but by now he's got to have that lockdown. He is a veteran, so he should be able to know these handoffs and what his responsibilities are.
Yeah, I agree. It's tough because he's a veteran, and he's coming over new to the system, so you want to give him some slack. But I don't know. It's just hard when his competition is some younger guys, and it's pretty much like you have 3 dudes, and it can go either way.
I think they're dudes. Just one of them has to step up and step up quick. That's what it's going to be, because we are going to start facing some stiffer competition. I mean, we go up to Eugene and we're not sure who our second corner is, or we're not settled. We don't get, Alex Graham or someone back at that, or Profit back for that corner, that nickel. I think we might be in for a long day. All right. I mean, listen, there is no love for at all. I can't, I'm not going to pretend like it. And I do think that if we play our best ball, we can go up to Eugene and we will be underdogs, but we can take that game. But if we still have questions about who our second corner is, oh no, man, it's gonna be rough. Dante Moore, I teased them in the offseason, because I was just thinking back, Jamal, to the UCLA year.
Yep.
He has corrected a lot of those demons, and is playing some good ball up there. So yeah, we got to sort that stuff out. Now, luckily, that's not until November. But I mean, there's gonna be other offenses that are going to definitely challenge us.
And this is a good test this week, frankly, because this is the first time all season we're playing a team with 2 legitimate weapons on the outside. I think Nick Marsh and Omari Kelly are, sort of equal in terms of kind of go-to for Aidan Chiles. So, the side opposite D-Nick, is going to get a lot of love from Aidan Chiles in terms of targets. And so I think this is going to be a nice barometer game to see who can sort of sustain here. And Tim, it's an interesting point. You don't want to get beat big on a bust, but if it's one of those things where a bust can be kind of correctable in terms of, hey, sort of knowledge of where you were supposed to be, sometimes you would take that over if you're just kind of consistently getting beat, right, for 13, 15 yards. There's something sort of inherently structurally wrong at that point versus a bust. So I think there's pros and cons to everybody in that room right now in terms of how they played. I think you're going to have to take a committee approach here against Michigan State this week, but each of them are going to get a lot of run, because this isn't one of those situations where, you got one receiver and it's just sort of an Art Briles offense where you're just doing sort of RPO on one side of the field. This is going to be 2 sides of the field because they got 2 legitimate weapons. So I see this as really kind of a separation opportunity for that other corner.
Nick Marsh might be out this week.
Yeah, that's the word. I think it's probably a game time decision. That would clearly help out the situation.
I have a feeling he's going to go. He's going to go.
At the very least, though, when we do say that, he may go, but clearly he's most likely not going to be at 100%.
Yeah.
And if there's a position out there where you need to be 100% coming in and out of your breaks, and it was a lower leg thing, so I mean, it does limit you as a receiver. But yeah, I mean, I guess we'll see. It's just one of those things. Awesome, Christian. Anything else for us?
It'll be an interesting test going up against. I think it'll be interesting to see the defense going up against a true dual threat quarterback. I think that Chiles leads their team in rushing yards, or maybe he did last week because their running back went down. So I think that would be an interesting test.
Yeah, absolutely. It's, anytime you face a talented, and he is a true dual threat. So yeah, it does test your defense. But I gotta say, I like the athleticism on the outside. If they play sound gap, our linebackers don't get upfield. They do their jobs. They stay at home. I think we should be okay. And I wouldn't be surprised to see a spy on him, once in a while.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you, Christian. Appreciate it. As always, just top call. I think we got you. I think we answered you pretty good. Usually you stump me, but I think we were ready for you this time. But appreciate you as always, and thanks again for being a great supporter of the show. Thanks for the call.
Absolutely. Thanks, Christian.
Sure, thank you. Right on.
Right on. All right, we got a couple in the queue ready to go, which is great. We have calls. Remember, 888-997-4539. Give us a call. Weigh in. Let us know your thoughts. I'm not raising the white flag. I'm not freaking out, but I just have to say it's been a bit questionable at the corner position as these younger guys trying to work their way in. And while we're deep, the injuries are starting to mount up. And as Gabe said, our best press corner guy, everyone wants us to tighten up on the outside. Our best press corner guy just went down for the season. So do we got some questions? Hi, caller. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
This is Paulie Walnuts, Tim. How you doing?
Paulie Walnuts, how you doing, buddy? How's it going?
You didn't. This is the first time. This is not a good sign, Tim. This is the first time you did not recognize the number, man. My God, that's a bad omen right there, man.
Well,
hey, Jamal, how are you? Good evening, gentlemen.
You have to know this.
Yeah.
We got started and we hopped right in. We got a call almost right away, and I literally had not set up the phone line. So right now, when people are calling, I don't have caller ID, so I'm flying blind. I know Christian's phone number too, but I didn't see his until it popped up, until I heard his voice.
Paulie, he's just giving excuses. He's becoming too Hollywood. That's what's happening.
It's janky. All right, my system is janky. If you guys knew how hard it is to set this damn phone line up, you would understand. What's going on, Paulie? What do you think of the cornerbacks?
Hey, well, listen, gentlemen. No, you know what? I just anytime I get a chance to call in, Tim, that to show the show some love. This is the first show I ever called into when I moved back to the area, and obviously you've been a big help for me throughout this entire process. But getting into it, I just wanted to make it quick. Just everybody's kind of freaking out about this entire cornerback situation, and the way I see it is I'm actually excited about it. You look at college basketball, the way it evolved. Remember, freshmen were never allowed to play, and then slowly, as the 90s hit, that started changing. And next thing you know, freshmen, if you're good enough, you're going to play. And now I see college football evolving and kind of leaning that way. There's a lot of really talented freshman players out there. This is what they want. They're getting an opportunity right now on the job training to show us exactly what they're made out of. Right now, we got some kids that can come in and actually just show us that, you know what, I deserve to play and I want to be in this rotation, and let's do this. Well, everybody's freaking out about Celis. The way I see it is I think he'll be a lot better. I think the talent is it's there. It's just, wow. You kind of get thrown into the mix, and maybe it was just a little overwhelming for him at first. But you know what? I think his breakup, his attitude, his mentality, the way the kid carries himself, I think he's just going to be just fine. And by no means am I ever going to doubt Belk and Lynn and these guys. I think these guys were brought in for a reason, and that's to be able to pull this out of any kind of situation. You have to have faith in this coaching staff. They're the best in college football when it comes to on the defensive side of the ball. There's no better out there. We got an all-star team of coaches, and I think they're going to find that right combination, whether it's Tristan Castro, to me, who has those long arms and the strength and the athletic ability. Maybe it could be him, or maybe Harvey kind of gets that role where he decides to kind of come into his own there and feel comfortable with the system. And then also, just Michigan State in general. This is a good chance. We played Purdue. We're able to get some guys in there and kind of feel some players out. And this just isn't a regular freshman class to me. To me, some of these guys that have been playing already, they're just different. They're different. They're like Cody different. Just, I don't know, what's another player I can equate him to that over the years that just came in and they just had that man kind of vibe to them. And that's what like Bricard and Stewart and these guys, man, they just don't seem like regular freshmen to me. And eventually, maybe Cordova's and those guys get in the mix too. But in the meantime, I'm not going to go ahead. I'm not going to worry about it. I'm putting all my faith in this coaching staff. And when I hear rumors about Coach Lynn leaving as well, no, by no means do I ever think he's going to take off and leave. If he does, it'll probably be for the Penn State job if Franklin leaves, or I could see him possibly going to the NFL as well. But other than that, I think we're going to have a fairly easy time with Michigan State. Michigan State, even back to the Percy Snow and all these guys back in the day when they played that rough, hard-nosed football, even when Saban was there. That's the way, Jonathan Smith, his style is the same way. He goes in, he rebuilds programs. But I just think that the quarterback situation, I think he's a little iffy and a little careless with the ball sometimes. But if we allow the game to get ugly and Michigan State has an opportunity to ugly that game up, and we're in the fourth quarter and we're fighting for every inch, guys are getting dinged up and nicked up, and that's something where that's a place where we don't want to be. So we need to get up there, start putting some points on them immediately, and go ahead and stick to the running game like we did last time. I'm hoping we can do that right now. I mean, the play calling is just blowing me away. I'm absolutely loving it, guys. And to be able to see the way we put that game away, boy, it just felt so good to not have my shirt drenched in sweat, stressing out, man. It was so neat just to be able to have Waymo just close that thing out for us. So anyway, guys, listen, I got nothing but love for you, Tim. Jamal, it's great talk. I haven't seen you in a while. So you know what? Let's go ahead and let's enjoy this victory, because I have a feeling we're going to come out and we're going to turn things around this game. And not that we did bad the last time. I thought we played great. I was really happy with the effort that the team put out. We could have easily folded, and we did not fold. We came through, and that's, I think, this mentality that we have now, and this connection the team has with each other. Like I said, there's a cultural type of movement going on at USC right now, and I want to be on board for this, man. I want to enjoy every moment of it. And then, so anyway, you guys enjoy the rest of your evening. Fight on, brothers. I love you guys.
Fight on. Great call, Paulie.
Great call.
Yeah, a bunch of things in there. I mean, Celis has I said, he's been inconsistent. I've liked his play. I mean, overall, I really have liked his play overall, especially his tackling. He's got an 85 score, a PFF rating in his tackling. The guy's a tackling machine. I've told you guys that before he even got here to USC. The guy, it plays up on the line, and he's tough. So, I mean, it's not that I'm questioning Celis himself. And Trevon Reed, who's the cornerback coach, I really believe in him as well. I mean, he, you could tell the guys are playing hard for him. But I did see some people talking about they'd like to see less grabbing, a little more turning of the head. They have been flagged a couple of times, and they're probably going to get flagged more if they don't start turning the head. But I just think these guys need to get reps. So we got to get them ready before the bullets start flying. So, I mean, that's the real key to all of this. So it's not like Michigan State has Andre Rison. Those of you guys who watch the '88 Rose Bowl know what I'm talking about. But they will be tested. Make no doubt about that. We just had a caller, but he just dropped. Oh no, he's there. Hi, caller. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Well, Tim, it's Keith from Irvine.
Keith from Irvine. I got to get your picture. I took a picture. I snapped a picture of you in the crowd last game, by the way. I'm gonna have to get that ready for when you call in. I'll have your picture up on the screen for you. What's up, Keith?
I love that. I mean, that last caller, like, the guy got me so pumped up. Like, I started to cry to hear that. When I heard this guy's passion, I swear to God, like a tear rolled down my cheek, dude. I was like, where does this guy fit? I want to meet this guy because he reminds me a lot of myself, Tim.
I think Paulie is going to be. I think he's coming to the Michigan game, if I'm not correct. He can correct me in the chat. So you could probably meet him. Paulie, you've got to go to the tunnel corner. If you're looking at the tunnel end zone, right-hand corner, and you can't miss him. Yeah. Because you'll be, just listen for the guy yelling. And that will be Keith from Irvine, bringing the same passion. What's up, Keith?
Man, look, man, Saturday's going to be a late game. It's going to be 8:00.
Yeah.
Those kids, they're going to be tired. Those Michigan kids. 8:00 when we get stuff started out here in Cali, baby. I got us rolling the Spartans. Bet the spread. We're going to kick their ass. Have you seen their schedule? These guys are getting a little too much credit, dude. And you know what? I take it as a sign of disrespect. I think Lincoln Riley's pissed off. is not getting the respect he deserves. It's the best coach in college football. These are my real opinions here. We're gonna roll these guys.
Yeah, they came out. They put USC on those, Jamal. They put USC in that like detention center on yoga mats, right? I mean, while they're off, relaxing, probably eating chocolate sundaes and hitting the spa, and then they're sitting in the rainy ramp, sitting there on cement. So I think that a lot of people didn't take into factor that 3-hour layover was probably a bit on the nerves, obviously, but also just physically to the team getting ready, mentally up, and then you got to get down and get up again. And I think this one as well, though, being a late night game, it will absolutely benefit Jamal, the SC Trojans.
Yeah, no question about it, Tim. And Keith, you said it really well there in terms of this is sort of the benefit and the curse of these cross-country trips sometimes, right? Sometimes you're on the short end of it, and then sometimes you're on the advantage side here. And so for Michigan to have to come cross-country and play a game, 10 p.m., 11 p.m. their time, that's a really tough thing to kind of get used to. And I think just, look, it's 18.5-point favorite. So I think, Vegas, sort of understands that the Michigan State 3-0 is a little inflated. They had to go to overtime at home against Boston College to sort of squeak that one out, on a 2-point conversion. Boston College came back, lost by double digits to Stanford. So, and that's sort of the marquee win for Michigan State right now. So I agree with you. It's been a very soft schedule. And all three of these opponents at various points in the game for significant periods of time have been able to move the ball fairly effectively on this Michigan State defense. So, you got to love the SC chances there on the offensive side. We're talking so much of SC defense, Michigan State offense. We got to flip that one around as well. What happens when SC's got the ball? There's going to be some decided advantages there. So I agree with you. Barring, turnovers and penalties obviously become the equalizers in any sort of game. As long as SC kind of takes care of business on those two ends, this should be a game that USC should be able to handle.
Aidan Chiles only has the one interception on the season. I think as he gets a taste of the USC pass rush, that number might go up, and they might add to Bishop Fitzgerald. That should have been the question. The question should have been, will Bishop Fitzgerald get 10 or more? We'll set the line. Bishop Fitzgerald 10.5 interceptions.
Woo!
That's a lot. But anyway, 4 through 3 games, man. That's a fair amount of interceptions. And then Slap Happy, you got me confused here. You say not to be arrogant, one game at a time, and then you say SC covers easily. So, but I like the sentiment on that. What else you got for us, Keith? Hey, Keith, who do you see lining up the other cornerback position?
Well, a lot of our callers, they're astute, man. I got to give it to you guys. Jamal, he's a genius. He knows what he's talking about. You, Tim, you're a legend. And the callers, there's a lot of guys that call into the show that know their shit. So I like what the other guy said. I think DJ Harvey, the transfer from San Jose State, it's like, dude, like, if you look at the plays he's actually played, the number of plays he's actually played the last 2 games, he hasn't been on the field. And I'm like, I thought we dropped a bag to get this kid, You got to give DJ another shot.
Yeah, I'm legitimately asking you guys because, again, the bias is strong with Tim. We all know that I'm a Bosco guy, and I've been touting Celis for a while. But I said Braylon Conoly has flashed for me. Really, he's played well. It's just none of them have played consistent, and I'm just saying, especially when you put these guys on an island, and you have to ask them to be consistent. They can give up the underneath one. They can give up the 7-yard. Heck, on 3rd and 6, they can give up that 6.5-yard pickup. You just can't let them get behind you, and those busted coverages in these close games, as it starts to get tightened down a little bit, where the possessions and the points become a premium, you need to lock down that other guy that we know, like Riley always says, like I bring up at least once every 2 weeks. Great players aren't the guys that make the great plays. It's the guys, when they make their mistakes, they don't hurt you that bad. That's a great player, and that's a consistent player, and that's what they need from that other corner. Yeah,
agreed, Tim. And I think it's...
What about Jamal?
Yeah, no, I mean, I agree with you on Harvey. Harvey's kind of the guy I like, to be honest with you. I might be in the minority there because I just think that experience factor is the one that you need, particularly in this kind of circumstance. You're down 2 injuries, your premier, the secondary player is playing out of position. You really need to be able to lean on that experience. I love Marcellus Williams. I think he's going to be a star, and I think he's going to play a big role on this team over the course of this season. But, there's going to be ebbs and flows there. And I think you're trying to kind of get to a place of stability. Now, it's unfortunate that Harvey's mistakes have been magnified, but I sort of come back to, if you sort of understand positioning, and, you can sort of correct those busts. That's coaching. It's correctable. You can sort of get in the lab, see what you're seeing on film and fix it. It's when you're sort of consistently getting beat is when I'm getting more and more concerned. I'm okay with a bust, particularly in these early games, because it's an opportunity to sort of learn and grow. You can't afford it, to Tim's point, against Oregon. You can't afford it against Notre Dame. But, in these early games, if it means that you're going to sort of understand the playbook better, I think that Harvey is going to surprise us Saturday night. I think he's going to make some plays, and I'm looking for Harvey and that experience to separate. Yeah,
that growth is not going to hurt you that bad. And before we let Keith go, Trojan fight. So you're just talking about when Fleck was basically just pleading and tapping them on the back. That was what happened in Minnesota was a crime. But I will tell you, I don't know if you caught that, but the other Georgia Tech game, I was about maybe 5 yards away from Riley. Riley was losing his shit on the officials it was a horrible, right away, it was a horrible pass interference call late in the fourth quarter. We are waxing Georgia Tech, and he is screaming and all over the refs. And I do see Riley on the refs getting on the refs back the whole game. It's just you may not see it on the television copy, but I can tell you he is. Now, is he asking him at the dinner like Fleck does and all the weird, creepy stuff that he was doing in that game? No, but he is working the officials. Is he as animated as some? No, but he is definitely anything but just complacent and just letting plays go. He believe me, he was legitimately pissed off on that call, and if he sees something like he does give the refs his earful. So.
Yeah, I agree. He doesn't go into a game. I think some other coaches go into the game saying, as part of my game plan, I'm going to work the officials. And they almost sort of treat that as another game inside the game. And they're going to do it over the course of 4 quarters. Riley doesn't approach it that way. It's not like he's sort of going in to sort of work officials in the first quarter. So then, they're aware of things in the fourth quarter. But he has his moments where if he feels that something has been egregious, there's a lot of fire to him, and he's going to sort of let them know about it. And he's going to let them know about it over the course of a couple of plays. I think, Tim, you've seen that. You mentioned the Georgia Southern game. And then, of course, I think we've seen that even over the course of last year as well. So I think it's just a mentality. It's he's going to focus on a small set of plays where if he feels it's been egregious, he's going to stay with it for a couple of plays. But other coaches kind of come in like working, like I'm going to work an official from 8 minutes to go in the first quarter, so then maybe I can get some calls in the fourth quarter. It's almost like an NBA mindset. That's not Lincoln, but he's definitely going to stand up for his guys.
It's also kind of like that parent that always yells at the kid just tunes them out,
Yeah, exactly.
But then that parent who has quiet authority, and all of a sudden dad loses his stuff, the whole, the goldfish stops swimming. It's like, oh, whoa, right. Okay, we just went too far. So, I mean, I don't want to belabor it. I get your point. He does it very subtly. And Jamal, you did a good job breaking down how the difference and how he goes about doing it. I think that's right on. Hey, Keith, I'm going to have to let you go. We're stacked up a little bit again, but I mean, I can't wait to see you. I know I'll see you on Saturday.
Yeah, all good. Sorry about that, guys, but thank you. God bless. Fight on.
Fight on,
Thanks
Keith.
So much, Keith. Fight on.
Longtime supporter, Keith. Appreciate you calling in. Can't tell you how much I appreciate it. Okay, we got about 3 calls right here, which we should be able to get through. Hi, caller. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, what's going on, boys? LB Live, man. Fight on from the East Coast, man. How you boys doing?
Fight on. Fight on.
Well, LB Live. The voice. The voice.
What's going on, man? Yeah, it's pretty late out here. I just got done watching my Yanks get a victory, man. So we're getting ready for the World Series to get our revenge against you Dodgers. So I just hope you boys are ready out there on the West Coast. So let's get back to football.
You better bring some more bats than Judge. All I'm gonna tell you. Although our bullpen shaky, but we'll see. We'll see if we get there.
Yeah, we'll see. Definitely, we have same issues. Yeah, same thing. But so listen, guys. One thing I'm hearing, like, a lot of concerns about like the secondary. I think we're in a good place. I mean, we got these young guys here. I think I'm taking a look at the depth chart here. So we got, of course, Nicholson, right? We have Braylon Conoly. We have Marcellus Williams. We have DJ Harvey. Like, I think we're fine. I mean, if you have RJ Sermons there as well. It comes a time where all these kids that got all these stars behind them, they got to play. I mean, you got to put them out there. I mean, of course, it's going to be some growing pains. But Madman and Tim, I'm sure you guys agree with me. This is the part of having a schedule like this, right? You kind of basically start off with the preseason games, right? The first two, of course, and then these next two. The competition is not pretty stiff. So this is a good time to kind of work out those kinks. And so to me, as much as we're concerned about maybe some of the things we saw last week, and if you guys know, I called them right after, this is kind of like the time you want to kind of make these mistakes. You want to get these things out so you can have fixable things to work on during the week to coach these guys and get these guys better. But these kids were big-time recruits, man. I mean, you have RJ Sermons. I mean, he reclassed. He's back. He was a 5-star guy. I mean, Braylon Conoly was a big recruit. Marcellus Wiley, some John Bosco guys, a big recruit. I mean, it's time for these guys to kind of put up. Like, guys, that's why you're here. So they want to play. They want to get on the field. I think it's time to kind of really get them out there. And I think this time, playing against these 4 teams is a good time to get prepped and ready right before, like you said, Madman, we get into that gauntlet, right? So now is the time to see exactly who these guys are, and then take it from there. What say you guys?
We saw a little bit of Tristan Castro earlier. I think their time to play was the first 2 games of the year. I think that's when we're going to see. RJ Sermons was dinged up, and then Chasen Johnson, James Johnson also is out there. We saw a lot of Kevin Longstreet as well, which was crazy. So they did get that play, but now that we've hit Jamal, now that we've hit the Big Ten, I'm not going to take, we can't take any of these teams lightly. We can't be throwing out true freshmen. It's not that those guys we just named aren't studs. It's just corner is one of those positions you got to build your reps, and then going up in high school and then jumping to the speed of the game, kind of like the quarterback sees, the quick decisions you have to make. We saw a veteran, make a mistake, with busted coverage. So this is the kind of thing where you need those mental reps. You need just that time in college. I know baptism by fire. I just don't see we're seeing it. That's why I'm talking about the fact that we really want to get some more of these. We're really missing Prophet Brown, you guys, more than I think a lot of people realize for a number of reasons. I think you alluded to it, Jamal. Just kind of being able to roll. What would Ramsey? What would his defense be like if we got Ramsey in his natural position? And it's not. I mean, it's not a problem. Like, it's not that I don't want to see Christian Pierce out there, because he's playing great ball as well. But to see this defense, the way it's supposed to be run, the way this defensive line is running it, if we get some guys back, at corner, and at nickel, and we can get back to a secondary, I think that we thought we were going to see at the beginning of the season, then we're going to know what we have. Right now, we're kind of, I that wasn't clickbait, that the title list. I mean, I'm really starting to say, hey, there might be something going on here. And then right here, this is a great question. It kind of is on the same vein you're talking about. They're talking about the bend don't break because of difficulty on the inside of our defensive line. I don't know if that was, I don't know if that bend don't break was on purpose. I just think we couldn't stop anybody. But this year, I do think they're playing a soft zone more often, because if you watch Gabe's video, they were getting on press coverage, they were getting cooked on press coverage. So they had to go, they just had to roll back to that. Otherwise, they might have given up some easy touchdowns. So it's just by necessity, and that necessity is because the guys we have back there just need to get seasoned a little bit more, and I'm glad we're ramping up. But Jamal, again, what are your thoughts overall on the defense itself, and what can we do about the young guys at corner?
Yeah, no, and LB, it's a great point, about getting the young guys reps and into the schedule, and I think we are not, and, we can't disrespect Michigan State either, right? I mean, this is 18.5-point favorite at home, night game, a lot of inherent advantages here. But like we saw, first two games, Purdue's a step up from the first two games. And I think Michigan State is a half to a full step up from Purdue. I think we're sort of, 10 days from now, we're at Illinois. It's going to start coming fast, at Illinois, then Michigan, and then so on and so forth. And so I think we're trying to really use this game as that game where you create that separation. I think going into that quote unquote last game of kind of the soft part of the schedule, if you will, I think we're just looking for a little bit more of an identity on the other side of that secondary. And I think the fact that it's so close, we're down to one more game to sort of make that determination. And, to use your analogy, that NFL preseason model, used to be 4 games, now it's 3 games, but by that, if it was a 4-game preseason, by that third game, you want to kind of be buttoned up, right? And now by that second game, you want to be buttoned up. And so now we're getting into that final game where we feel like we've got a clear advantage, and we still don't have a ton of clarity there. And so, and I think the points on, the man coverage is spot on here. I think we've struggled, and that's why we're playing a little bit softer, because again, if you've got a significant pass rush, the quarterback's not going to have time to throw the ball deep. And so that's why you're banking on that, right? Is that your pass rush is going to get home. So if I play soft, as long as I keep everything in front of me, you're relying on that team now to have to put 12, 14, 15 plays together without a penalty, without a mistake, without anything negative. And given where you are right now with the pass rush, that's a tall order, for particularly these teams. So I think it's very intentional. However, when you get into that part of the schedule, when you're playing really disciplined teams like in Illinois, or you're playing really explosive teams like in Oregon, or you're playing really physical teams like Notre Dame, I don't know if you can just sort of rely on that recipe and be able to get by. So I think really well taken on the points, and I think this is where the schedule has really helped. But I think this is why we're looking for that separation Saturday night, because it's sort of the last of these games before we get into the meat.
Yeah, no schedule where you're going to South Bend and going to Autzen is an easy one.
I mean, yeah.
When you're going to those
that was exactly my. Sorry.
No, LB, go ahead. Sorry.
No, but that I'm glad you said that, man, because that was exactly my point. Like, this is where you find out who they are. Like, and I think that this is why it was important to kind of have this soft schedule, because now, like you said, now we're going to get into the gauntlet right after this. Like now is the time. So I think they're going to kind of start moving some guys around and kind of figure out, saying, okay, listen, this is going to be our guys. This is it. If it's my opinion, if I'm setting it up right now, I'm having Nicholson starting. I'm having DJ Harvey starting opposite him. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to maybe interchange Conoly and Williams at the nickel and put Kamari Ramsey back at his position, where I think that's where he's the head honcho there. That's what I would do, because I would say, listen, I need that guy back there to clean up the mess, right, Jamal? That's what we want him back there for to clean up the mess. If anything gets behind anybody, to give those checks. He's not going to be able to see those things at nickel. But back there at the free safety spot, he can see that. So hopefully they kind of take a look at that, and maybe that's the adjustments they make after, like you said, this 4-game preseason schedule until we get into that gauntlet. So we'll see exactly what they do, man. But we should be excited, man. I mean, I think we're in a really good spot. Because some things have to get better, but most teams out there are that way too, man. So, I'm just really excited about what we have. Listen, boys, it's late in the East Coast. I'm going to grab crash, get some sleep. Listen, great show as always. Tim, you're my guy as always. You know this. Fight on from the East Coast, boys. Take care, man. Have a good night. Bye.
Thanks, LV. Thanks for support, as always. And thank you to all you guys for support. You guys, if you made it here for the full hour, you must have enjoyed something. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, please do us a favor and hit that subscribe button. Go ahead and hit the like button as well. Appreciate everyone being here every Wednesday, 7 p.m. for the Conquest call-in show. I got a feeling as the season cooks up a little bit, as those wins start to rack up, as the competition ratchets up, we should have a lot to talk about. Let's hope that we do have that Jamal, that cornerback, that young cornerback, or new to our system cornerback, step up this week. Give us something to look forward to going into on the road again to Illinois. Next week, we'll be previewing the Illinois game. We'll know a lot more about Illinois after they play Indiana this weekend.
Big game.
And I think we'll know a lot more about USC after this Michigan State game. I think slowly it's ratcheting up. I was trying to say that USC's got a favorable schedule. It's hard to say that when you're traveling to South Bend, you're traveling to Autzen, but if you look at the way it all works out, the bye before the Michigan game, right? The bye after the Notre Dame game that we're going to have. And the fact that with this roster, we needed this time to, get some guys' feet wet. I think you couldn't have asked for much more. That and not playing Ohio State, who I think is definitely the best roster in the conference and most likely the best team in the conference, is helpful. But again, helpful is you guys being here. Appreciate every single one of you. I loved all of our calls tonight. Look forward to you guys. Give us a call. The first time callers, please give us a call. That's I love to hear. I love all my guys, Kristen and Paulie, and LV, and Keith from Irvine. I love hearing from those guys again, but I really do enjoy hearing those first time callers. We know you guys have options. Thank you guys for being here. Jamal, we started on time, and it looks like we're gonna get out of here on time.
What are the odds? What are the chances, Tim? It's but excited about Saturday night, and Tim and I and Ryan will of course be there. So if you see us, come on down and say hi, and looking forward to hopefully having a Victory Sunday show on Sunday morning and talking about all the great things that the Trojans did Saturday night.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us. We appreciate you being here. Again, hit that subscribe and like button on the way out, and we'll see you guys Sunday morning. Bye, Don.